It is a somber day today. As of recording, it is 10:57 p.m. on Wednesday, September 10th. And earlier today, at approximately 12:10 p.m., American conservative political activist, author, and media personality Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while on stage at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. He was speaking at an open air campus event, the first stop on a campaign called the American Comeback Tour that was planned by Turning Point USA, the conservative organization of which he co founded and served as president. Charlie Kirk was just 31 years old and left behind his wife Erica and his two children. University officials said the shot appeared to come from a campus building roughly 200 yards or 180 meters from the event area. U.S. President Donald Trump ordered all flags to be flown at half staff until Sunday, September 14th at 6 p.m. in Kirk's honor. And as of now, there is an ongoing and active manhunt for the assailant, a person of interest, George Zinn, Z-I-N-N, who appeared to be an elderly man in his, I want to say, 60s, was arrested for obstruction of justice. But as of now, there is no word on the assailant. The assailant is still at large. So now there's a manhunt going on, and the energy right now is a little bit eerie for a number of reasons. One of the questions that, people are asking, of course, is will this person strike again? But I'm not here to discuss the actual events of what happened. You can look them up for yourself. There are videos on the internet and on X, formerly known as Twitter, that managed to capture the actual moment that Charlie Kirk was shot. I myself have seen those videos, and I will obviously warn you that they are pretty disturbing, so view at your own risk. I first heard about Charlie Kirk when I was in high school. I believe it was a career ed assignment or something. I can't exactly remember, but my teacher had included a link to a video for reference, and it turned out to be a Turning Point USA video with Charlie Kirk speaking. And I, found it fairly interesting and didn't think too much of it at the time. It really wasn't until he spoke at the 2020 Republican National Convention that I began to take notice. And if I can say, the main thing that drew me to Charlie Kirk was his unconfrontational approach to debate. He didn't call names. He didn't point fingers. He just calmly invited those who disagreed with him to the front of the line and opened the mic to them, as if to say, tell me why you disagree with me. Give me all your reasons, and I'll tell you why I think you're wrong. Let's have a discussion about it. And I will admit that when I found out that he was dead, I cried. When I found out that he'd been shot, I cried because I really admired Charlie Kirk as a person, what he stood for, and mainly as a debater. I mean, I wanted to meet him. I wanted to learn more from him. And I'm going to be real here. I don't think the left realize it yet, but the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk is going to be remembered as the day that we finally woke up to what this fight really is. It's not a civil dispute among fellow countrymen. It's a war between diametrically opposed worldviews which cannot peacefully coexist with one another. One side will win, one side will lose, Charlie Kirk tried to win that fight through argumentation, through discussion, through peaceful resolution of differences. And the other side murdered him. Not because he was extreme or inciting violence or any other hyperbolic slur they hurled at him. They murdered him because he was effective, because he was unafraid, because he inspired others and made them feel like they had a voice, that they were not alone. And he did so at the very institutions which have fomented so much hatred towards conservatives. Social media is aflame right now with leftist celebration of Charlie's death, which is absolutely disgusting and appalling. And I wonder if any of them really understand what has just happened. You know, if there is any sign that is warning them that they've just awoken a sleeping giant. And I'd now like to include a message from the Canadian psychologist Gad Saad, who is also a professor of marketing at the John Molson School of Business at Concordia University in Montreal. And this is what he had to say about the events that transpired today.
Hi, everybody. This is Gad Saad. I was out with a friend. I'd already found out that Charlie was shot, but I received the text that he had died. The attack on Charlie is an attack on every decent human being who lives in the supposed free West. Charlie lost his life because he represented the ideals of American freedom. He's a guy who decided in his teenage years to found an organization that has grown to be massive. In a free society, you're allowed to do that. He was always respectful. He was always a family man. He was a man of faith. He was a friendly guy. I know him personally. I call him a friend. I've been on his show many times. He's been on mine. He's invited me to Turning Point. We met at Mar-a-Lago. He's very tall. He's a gorgeous human being. It doesn't matter where you are on the political spectrum. What happened today should shake you to your foundation. A society that sinks into this kind of behavior, where such a bright light, again, it doesn't matter whether you agree with his positions or not, although his positions were always delivered with kindness, with a smile on his face. He's respectful. He wants to engage people. I've always argued that I'm a man of intellect. I'm going to defeat you in the war of ideas. I'm going to defeat you by offering better arguments. I've implored people for decades that it is better to solve the problem in the arena of ideas, because tomorrow the problems will be solved in the arena of violence. What happened today to Charlie has to wake you up. It has to compel you to say, I don't want to live in a society where someone like Charlie Kirk or anyone else who offers a position could lose their life because of it. He's got 2 young children. He's got a young wife. I had a meeting today, an important meeting at 6:00 with Old Miss, and I canceled it. They were gracious enough to reschedule because I am floating on a cloud of immeasurable rage. You should be as well. Have a good day, everybody.
And now I'd like to send it over to our very own Thucydides, who has his own message about today's events.
You're going to have to forgive the mic quality on this one. My microphone is broken, and I think this is more important than having good sound quality. It is September 10th, 2025, and if you're hearing this and you know the news, you've read the title, Charlie Kirk was assassinated today. That's exactly what it was, an assassination. If you're not aware, today, while giving a speech at Utah Valley University, Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck and later died of his wounds. One man is arrested, but is supposedly not an accurate person of interest and was later released. Supposedly another man was arrested and then also subsequently released. The governor of Utah has already floated the idea of giving the assassin, when he's caught and convicted, the death penalty. I hope that the governor and the president apply the full measure of the government to find the shooter. Personally, the thought of Charlie Kirk being gone hasn't really quite sunk in yet. It's weird to think that the videos of him and the speeches that he's given are all in the past, and that a political household name is now one of the list of celebrities that have gone to the Lord in 2025. And of all of them, of all the actors and all the athletes and the television stars, none have impacted me like Charlie has. In fact, you'd probably say that about a lot of people. There's more impact that Charlie Kirk has done than just about most other celebrities. And it doesn't need to be said, but this tragedy impacts not just Charlie, but not just you and me, but his family. He leaves behind a wife and 2 children, and they'll feel this more than anybody else. We're all going to feel it, and maybe even 15 years from now, we'll feel it when he would inevitably become the president and now cannot. But his family will feel this more than all of us because his wife is now a young widow, and his 2 children grow up without a father. They're now thrust into a life more difficult than I could know. And maybe you can relate. But all of us are going to feel pain, and all of us can pray for their blessing, their continual support, and love and protection. And while it feels obtuse to call anything a silver lining right now, Charlie Kirk will not be forgotten. His impact will live on. His organization, Turning Point USA, has become a political force to be reckoned with, and it will continue his mission. We're all going to continue his mission, not Turning Point alone. That's not to mention that the scores of YouTube clips made by both Turning Point USA and also various clout chasers on YouTube, whoever their intentions, good or bad, it's giving eyes and ears to Charlie, showcasing what he was so good at. He showed countless young people, myself included, what it looks like to really contend with people intellectually. It's easy to look at Jordan Peterson or Ben Shapiro and dismiss their debate capabilities because they have more life experience and more education than the average high school student. But Charlie, he showed young people that they could do it and they don't need a college education, and that if you're curious and if you are willing to grow and to think, and if you say, he can do it, so can I, you can. And yeah, he was one of a kind. Charlie Kirk was really specially gifted, but his example has been immortalized by the internet to inspire and encourage countless people to come. I mean, he started Turning Point USA at 18, for goodness sake. He's been doing it for a long time, and while he's no longer here to continue growing the organization, that's not to say it's done. In fact, I think it's just getting started. I want to echo something Boris Johnson said, and I know it's not often people really want to echo Bojo, but he really hits the nail on the head. The murder of Charlie Kirk is a tragedy, and a sign of the utter desperation and cowardice of those who could not defeat him in argument. Charlie Kirk has been killed not for espousing extremist views, because he didn't. He has been killed for saying things that used to be simple common sense. For a man who waged war and, with thought and word, to die by a bullet is a tragedy at the very least. He was brave because he espoused conservative values, and not just that, he walked them as well. He made something of himself, and he could prove that he was worth his salt. And for some people, that's unacceptable. The cowards here are not just the shooters, but every single worthless piece of garbage who's cheering and reveling in his death, but didn't have the balls to do anything substantial to oppose him. I really appreciate the handful of people who hated his guts and are still able to give their condolences to his family and being respectful of this loss. And to every little piece of excrement in Hassan Piker's comment section talking about how ironic it is that he was shot, and all the people cheering that he's gone, people doing anything but being respectful to him and his family, these people drive me insane. And if that's you, and if you find yourself struggling to not be an incorrigible, contemptible fool in the comment section of a TikTok or YouTube video, let me tell you this. Take a look inside of yourself. Are you happy? Does your life dramatically improve because of this loss? If the answer to either of those questions is yes, then do the world a favor. Put your phone down. If that's how you feel, then you need to do some serious introspection. Charlie Kirk has lived a more meaningful life both here and will in heaven than you are right now. And that's a you problem. Charlie had his faith worked out, and he knew his future was secure, and he lived and he spoke that to so many people, and so many people have been impacted by how steadfast he was in his faith. And while I'm angry over this senseless violence, let's turn our attention to whatever anonymous CBC writer parroted this retarded Hassan Piker take on a national news article. These people, even in the wake of his death, people are very quick to quote Charlie on gun violence, and they often turn around and say, that's ironic that he died in a school shooting. Let's get one thing clear. This is not a school shooting. This was an assassination. This is a targeted act of violence that very concerningly mirrors the Butler, Pennsylvania shooting. School shooters are mentally deranged individuals that target kids because they crave violence. Whoever perpetrated this was motivated by hate and filled with fear of engaging him in a meaningful and productive way. While I was writing this, I had the Daily Wire's coverage playing in the background, and Ragged Conrad hit the nail on the head. Death doesn't get the last laugh here. Charlie is now with Jesus, and I cannot think of a better and more divine reward for Charlie. There's so much more to be said, but not by me. And as we move through these next days of mourning, keep Charlie's family in your prayers. Keep America in your prayers. Keep the body of Christ in your prayers. I know that I personally will be praying for all of them, and more so that God would grow goodness out of this tragedy. 2025, man. There's been a few impactful people in my life, very godly people in my life that have gone to be with the Lord, and previously they've lived whole, happy, full lives, and they were ready to go and be with God, and they went peacefully and in time, and they were brought to heaven in the best possible way. And it's tragic that Charlie didn't get that, and he was instead just taken from us. Anyway, thanks for listening to the Basement Podcast. Be respectful in people's comment sections. If you have friends who are cheering in this tragedy, then do what Charlie would have done. Engage them thoughtfully and pray for them, because it seems like they don't know God.